how far would you truly go for truth? I mean, what would you risk to reclaim your own identity if powerful forces were conspiring to just erase you?
It's a huge question, isn't it? And it's not just personal. It really gets into the nature of truth itself, especially when, official documents, reputation, influential people, they all line up to create a totally different story, a dangerous one often.
Exactly. And that's pretty much the heart of our deep dive today. Welcome to the deep dive. We are plunging into this incredible story, deception, mistaken identity, and this just a relentless search for justice.
And our sources are fascinating this time. We've got this whole collection of what seem like really meticulously kept records, personal letters, diaries, even legal notes and police reports.
Yeah, from all sorts of people involved, and artists, a very savvy gentlewoman, a housekeeper who seems incredibly meticulous, and others too. So our mission really is to untangle this complex web.
Piece together what actually happened around this mysterious woman in white.
Right, and uncover the hidden agendas of everyone involved. We want to figure out who was pulling the strings.
So we'll start with a drawing master who seems completely unsuspecting at first. Then we follow the clues right across Victorian England.
And uncover some, well, pretty surprising connections that really lay bare the stark realities and maybe the vulnerabilities of society back then.
Okay, so our journey kicks off with Walter Hartright. He's a drawing master, and his life just takes this completely unexpected turn, all thanks to a rather unusual encounter.
He actually mentions it himself, how just diving in to save his friend, this slightly eccentric Italian refugee, Professor Pesca,
Pesca, yes.
somehow tied him to this destiny he could never have possibly imagined.
Yeah, that simple act of kindness towards Pesca, who, with his typical shrill Italian parody on an English cheer.
Yes.
Gets all excited and recommends Walter for this drawing master job. It seems so small, but it really is the catalyst for everything that comes after.
And it's quite the position, isn't it? At Limridge House up in Cumberland. Though Walter's a bit reluctant at first.
Well, yeah, despite the terms being amazing, a good salary, plus room and board. What was it? Your bed, your breakfast, your dinner, your gorging English teas and lunches and drinks of foaming beer, all for nothing.
Sounds pretty good. But yeah, he needs persuading his mother, his sister, and of course the ever-grateful Pesca eventually talk him into it.
It's that classic hero's journey starting point, isn't it? The reluctance. But even before he gets there on that late-night trip to Limerick, he has this really unsettling experience.
Ah, yes. The first sign that something is off.
Definitely. He meets a young woman, and she's dressed entirely in white, strikingly so.
And asks that really singular question. Is that the road to London?
Her whole appearance is memorable, too. Described as having a colorless, youthful face, meager and sharp, with these large, grave, wistfully attentive eyes and nervous, uncertain lips.
And light hair of a pale, brownish-yellow hue. Even her voice is noted as curiously still and mechanical. Just
odd. And what's immediately jarring isn't just how she looks, but how specific she gets. Her connection to Limerick.
right. She says she was born in Hampshire but went to school in Cumberland.
Specifically mentioning Limerick Village and Limerick House.
Yeah. Walter notes that this reference to his destination completely staggered him.
Understandably. So he leaves her there, but he's obviously deeply curious now. This woman in white, the unknown inhabitants of the mansion, it's like fate is just pulling him right into the middle of this whole thing.
So he arrives at Limerick House, meets the Fairley family, and, well, their eccentricities start to paint a picture of the world he's just stepped into. First, there's the head of the house, Frederick Fairley,
right.
Laura's uncle.
Mr. Fairley. Described as a man of merchandise and money, but totally preoccupied with his wretched nerves.
And his selfish affectation.
Yes. He's presented as this sort of helpless sufferer, completely obsessed with his art collection coins, Rembrandt etchings.
Avoids all business, anything remotely teasing, as he puts it.
Pesca had a great description for him, didn't he? A golden barbarian, values respectability over actual genius.
He really does set the stage, though, doesn't he? His sheer laziness, his passivity, it kind of allows the more active villains to operate.
Absolutely. Then you have Marion Halcombe, Laura's half-sister. She makes a very different impression.
Oh, completely. That light flow of talk, her lively familiarity of manner with a total stranger.
She has this unaffected naturalness and an easy inborn confidence. It makes formality impossible, apparently, but somehow stops anyone taking liberties.
And she's fiercely protective, isn't she? And takes charge almost immediately.
Yes. And it's not just her personality. The way she immediately starts methodically searching through her mother's old letters, specifically about a school Mrs. Fairley was interested in. That tells you a lot.
Establishes her as the detective of the piece, really.
Exactly. She's intelligent, persistent. Those are her weapons against all the deception in a world that, frankly, often limits women's options.
And then, of course, there's Laura Fairley herself, the delicate beauty at the center of it all.
Described as a fair, delicate girl in a pretty light dress, trifling with the leaves of a sketchbook, while she looks up from it with truthful, innocent blue eyes.
Walter is immediately captivated. You can see why.
And just briefly, there's Mrs. Easy, Laura's companion, sort of drowsily obedient with dimpled hand.
More passive figure, yeah. Almost background, which kind of highlights the agency, or maybe the lack of it, of the others.
Right. Now, remember that strange encounter Walter had with the woman in white?
How could you forget?
Well, as Marion digs into her mother's letters, this shadow starts to emerge that connects directly back to that meeting. It shows just how interconnected everything is, even if it doesn't seem like it at first.
So what do the letters reveal?
Details about a former student named Anne Catherick. She was an 11-year-old girl from Hampshire. And Anne's mother, Mrs. Catherick, is described as reserved about herself to the point of downright secrecy, a walking mystery. Apparently had something on her mind.
Intriguing. Anne herself.
She's described as unusual. Her intellect is not developed in the conventional sense, but she has this unusual tenacity in keeping ideas once she gets them.
So simple, maybe, but determined.
Kind of, but also described as a sweet, affectionate, grateful girl, which makes her quite vulnerable, but also, crucial to the plot later on.
And here's the real kicker, right? The connection.
Exactly. Mrs. Fairley, Laura's mother, had Anne wear Laura's old white frocks. Hand-me-downs.
Okay.
And Anne apparently made this promise. I will always wear white as long as I live. It will help me to remember you, ma'am.
Wow. So that vow directly links Anne Catherick to the woman in white Walter met. It's not just the dress. It's this deep emotional tie to Laura's family.
Precisely. And then adding to all this unease, this anonymous letter arrives at Limeridge.
Raising vile charges against Sir Percival Glyde, Laura's fiancé.
Yes. And the letter gets really specific. Details about Sir Percival's personal characteristics, a scar on his hand, even a particular cough he has.
Suggesting whoever wrote it knows him really well, almost obsessively.
It's more than just gossip. It feels like a deliberate warning. Someone out there has dangerous information about him.
And then the ghost story.
Right. A local boy, Jacob Postlethwaite, claims he saw a ghost Arl in white in the churchyard.
And Walter connects the dots.
He does. He links the ghost sighting, the fact that a bit of Mrs. Fairley's tombstone has been recently cleaned.
To the anonymous letter.
And he has this horrifying realization. The fancied ghost in the churchyard and the writer of the anonymous letter are one and the same person.
Anne Catherick.
Anne Catherick. It's Walter's first really big insight into just how deep and unsettling these connections run.
The stage is definitely set for trouble now, isn't it? The mystery deepens and it's all swirling around Laura's upcoming marriage.
Yes, she's engaged to Sir Percival Glyde, a man with large property in Hampshire.
Which, of course, is where Anne Catherick is from. That connection again. Walter mentions feeling a sense of fatality about it. A premonition.
And that feeling gets stronger pretty quickly when Sir Percival insists they have to get married before the end of the year. Very insistent.
And then Walter and Marion find out about the marriage settlement terms.
Which are deeply troubling. If Laura dies without having children.
Without issue, as they put it.
Her entire fortune, £20,000, goes directly to Sir Percival.
That kind of clause, well, it might have been common, but in this context, given everything else, it immediately makes you suspicious of his motives. Creates this deadlock between the lawyers, too.
The tension must have been incredibly high. Laura herself is described as constrained and uneasy around Sir Percival.
Which confirms Walter's own feelings. He senses this foreboding of some undiscoverable danger.
And feels like he's linked already to a chain of events that even leaving Cumberland won't break.
So he leaves Limeridge House. His brief, presumptuous love, as he calls it, is over for now.
And he doesn't just leave Cumberland, he leaves England entirely. Joins an archaeological expedition in Central America.
Right. The last reports say he entered a wild primeval forest and then nothing. Vanished.
Although there's that mention in Marion's diary, isn't there? A dream about Walter returning. His life set apart to be the instrument of a design that is yet unseen.
Yeah, it hints that his story isn't over. Not by a long shot.
Okay, fast forward 6 months. Laura is married. Marion moves to Blackwater Park, which is Sir Percival Glyde's estate.
And it's immediately obvious Laura has changed.
Very much so. Marion notes she's changed in person, less beautiful. She's lost that freshness, that innocent life.
And she's afraid of being alone now. Confesses she wants to say and think as little about her marriage as possible.
It's heartbreaking, really, but it's also, a powerful comment on just how crushing unhappy marriages could be, how they could erase a woman's autonomy back then.
Sets the scene for the real horror that's coming, the identity theft.
And into this already tense situation walks Count Fosco.
Ah, the Count. Described with that immense head and his magnificent waistcoat of pale sea green silk.
He arrives with his wife, Madame Fosco, who is actually Laura's aunt, Eleanor.
And Marion finds him compelling, doesn't she? Admits he interested me, has attracted me, has forced me to like him.
But at the same time, she feels afraid of him. Knights his clear ascendancy over Sir Percival. It's this immediate paradox. How does that affect things at Blackwater?
Well, that paradox is Fosco, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Polished on the outside, but deeply unsettling underneath. And his philosophical comments, they're not just clever remarks.
Like, the fool's crime is the crime that is found out, and the wise man's crime is the crime that is not found out.
Exactly. That's basically his cynical view of society, that appearances matter more than justice. He even says English society is as often the accomplice as it is the enemy of crime.
Chilling, implying that the system itself, even the law, can be manipulated. Society becomes an enabler, not an enemy of crime. That's a pretty stark critique of Victorian respectability.
And things at Blackwater quickly get worse. Sir Percival's savage temper starts showing more.
He's planning big cuts to household expenses, seems desperate for money, and he gets weirdly obsessed with finding out if Mrs. Catherick has been seen nearby.
Clearly, his fear of exposure and his financial problems are making him erratic, dangerous.
And Laura's suffering becomes undeniable. She tells Marion Sir Percival has used her dreadfully.
Sneers at her scruples, accuses her of marrying him only because she had made a virtue of necessity.
And Marion later sees bruises on Laura's arm, notes the violence offered to you. It's stark evidence of his cruelty and control.
Then Marion overhears that truly chilling conversation. Count Fosco advising Sir Percival about Laura's money.
If your wife lives, you pay those bills with her signature to the parchment. If your wife dies, you pay them with her death.
Brutal. It lays bare the stakes. This isn't just about money anymore. It's literally life and death.
So Marion, hearing this, does something incredibly brave. She risks everything to eavesdrop.
Climbs out under the veranda roof in the middle of a storm.
Yes, listens to them discussing Laura's fortune and the threat that Walter Hartright and Anne Catherick represent. They're afraid that her interest and his interest might combine to turn their information against me.
Marion's courage there is just extraordinary. Her determination to protect Laura.
But tragically, the effort takes its toll. She gets caught in the rain, develops a fever, typhus, it turns out, and her diary just becomes illegible.
And then that incredibly audacious postscript by a sincere friend appears in her diary, added by Fosco himself.
It's astounding. He praises her tact, her courage, her accurate observation of character, even compliments his own masterly portrait in her writing.
While lamenting the cruel necessity which says our interests at variance, the nerve, it's pure psychological manipulation.
Absolutely. He's acknowledging her intelligence, her threat. Even as he's orchestrating her downfall, it shows his utter lack of morality.
So the layers of deception really start unfolding rapidly now, while Marion is critically ill.
Under the care of Mrs. Rubel, who Madame Fosco brought in supposedly eminently confidential and capable, but actually an accomplice.
Laura is sent away to London, under false pretenses, obviously.
At the station in London, Count Fosco meets her, gives her some water that tastes strange, uses smelling salts that make her feel giddy.
And the next thing she knows, she wakes up, terrified, confused, in a lunatic asylum.
The calculated cruelty of it is just breathtaking. It's methodical identity theft.
And the asylum owner later confirms it. Says Anne Catherick was brought back by Count Fosco on July 27th.
The exact date Laura supposedly died.
Right. And the owner noticed curious personal changes in Anne. And this modification in her delusion, she started assuming the character of his deceased wife.
It's the perfect cruel swap. They've publicly erased Laura, using Anne Catherick's identity as a cover for their crime.
And the public record backs them up. There's a tombstone, sacred to the memory of Laura, Lady Glyde, died July 25th, 1850. Officially, she's gone.
But just when it seems like all hope is lost, Walter Hartright returns.
Back from the dead, almost. Survived disease, attacks, shipwreck. His whole purpose created afresh. He's not the same naive drawing master anymore.
He's been forged by hardship, ready for whatever this destiny holds.
He goes back to Limmeridge churchyard, the very place he first met Anne Catherick.
And there, by Laura's mother's grave, he sees two veiled women.
One lifts her veil, and it's Laura.
The dead alive.
He describes her as pale and thin and weary, but the sight of it startled me, as if it had been the sight of my own face in the glass after a long illness. What a reunion. Shocking, emotional.
Pivotal.
But tragically, Laura's memory is gone. She can't remember London or what happened after Blackwater Park.
She's deeply affected by the grave, though. Wishes she could just die and be hidden and at rest with you, talking to her mother's grave.
She does have fragmented memories, though. Recalls meeting Anne Catherick at the boathouse, and mentioning the secret that your cruel husband is afraid of, and warning they were watched. Crucial little clues, even without the full picture. So now Walter and Marion are united. Their task: prove Laura's identity, against an official death record and with Laura's memory damaged.
It's a huge challenge. They realize a legal fight is almost impossible without Laura's full testimony. They have to rely on their own wits, their own detective work.
So Walter heads to Hampshire, Sir Percival's home turf, to dig into his past.
And a key witness, though maybe not a cooperative one, is Mrs. Catherick, Anne's mother, known for her grimmer sarcasm.
What did she reveal?
She hints heavily, mentions her husband finding hidden rings, lace, a watch with her initials, suspecting an affair with Sir Percival, and she talks about the secret that could ruin him, points Walter in a vital direction.
And then Walter gets that lucky break, talking to the church clerk.
Right. The clerk mentions his old master, the solicitor, used to keep a copy of the church register, and always complained the original wasn't kept securely in an iron safe.
Such a small detail, but it's everything.
It's the breakthrough. Walter compares the original register at Old Welmingham with the duplicate copy in Malmesbury.
And finds the forgery.
Exactly. The marriage entry for Sir Percival's parents, Sir Felix Glyde and Cecilia Jane Elster, it's missing from the original register, but it's in the copy.
How do they do it?
They used a blank space left over from 1803 and inserted the forged entry back in 1827. Meaning, Sir Percival is illegitimate. He has no legal right to his title, his name, his estate. Everything is built on this lie.
That's the secret. That explains his desperation, his cruelty, the lengths he went to.
It's the foundation crumbling. So Walter now has this explosive proof, but Sir Percival knows he's close.
He gets attacked by Percival's agents, shows Percival anticipated the investigation. Walter gets bailed out by a kind doctor, thankfully.
But then retribution comes swiftly and unexpectedly. Sir Percival dies.
In a fire, right, in the vestry of the old Welmingham church.
Yes, apparently trying to destroy the very register that contained the proof of his forgery. It's reported as an accident, a visitation of God.
A convenient accident.
Indeed. The villain, caught in his own trap, destroys himself, really. Lies consuming the liar.
But the story isn't quite over. There's still Count Fosco, the mastermind.
And this involves another surprising reveal. Walter finds out Professor Pesca's secret.
The eccentric Italian refugee.
Is actually a member of the Brotherhood, a secret Italian political society, dedicated to the destruction of tyranny and the assertion of the rights of the people. Members are branded with a small circular mark.
Wow. Okay. And the relevance.
Pesca reveals that traitors to the Brotherhood are considered dead, no human laws can protect him, and he recognized Count Fosco at the opera.
Fosco was a member. Or connected somehow.
It implies a connection, a potential betrayal. It introduces this whole other layer of justice operating completely outside the legal system. Secret, unforgiving.
And sure enough, Fosco meets his end. Found dead in the Seine River in Paris, disguised.
And the key detail, 2 cuts on his left arm in the shape of a T for traditor.
Traditor. Meaning justice had been done by the Brotherhood on a traitor. So Fosco likely was a member, betrayed them, and they executed him.
It seems so. And Fosco himself, in his own narrative that surfaces later, kind of admits defeat. He says his whole scheme depended on the complete destruction of Lady Glyde's identity.
But blames its failure on
one weak place in my heart. His fatal admiration for Marion. He calls this deplorable and uncharacteristic fault the reason Laura escaped, the reason Walter got a second chance.
Even the most ruthless manipulator undone by a flicker of something human. Admiration, perhaps.
Seems that way. Fascinating psychological insight.
And Laura, the woman at the center of it all, How does she recover?
Gradually. After she marries Walter, her memory of those events in London starts to return. She finds purpose again, assumes her own little position of importance.
Through her drawing, right? Which Walter and Marion support through that tenderly helped deception, buying her sketches.
Yes, buying her poor, faint, valueless sketches. It's a really touching detail, a quiet affirmation of her restored self thanks to their love and gentle support.
So finally, there's resolution. Walter and Laura, with Marion, return to Limerick.
Laura is publicly recognized as Mr. Fairley's niece. Walter and Laura marry. Her identity is restored, her rightful place secured.
And Mr. Fairley?
Oh, he's completely oblivious to the end. Still obsessed with his collection, his sun pictures of his treasures. A final, ironic touch maybe, on how privilege can be blind to profound injustice happening right under its nose.
So looking back, we've seen how all these clues, casual chats, diary entries, legal papers, anonymous warnings, piece together this incredibly complex plot.
It really highlights the subtle ways power works, doesn't it? How easily identity can be stolen, and the sheer dedication it takes to reclaim it.
Makes you think, how easily can reputation, truth, even a person's existence, be manipulated when the motives are strong enough?
And what does this whole deep dive suggest about proof? How do we figure out the truth when the official story, the official documents, are actually a deliberate lie?
It's a tough question. And think about Walter and Marion. They're driven by loyalty, morality, a desire for justice. But their ultimate success doesn't just come from their own efforts.
Right. It hinges on Sir Percival's accidental death, arguably self-inflicted.
And Count Fosco's assassination by this secret society.
So does that imply that real justice sometimes needs, well, external intervention, maybe even violent intervention, outside the legal system?
Or is it more a testament to the idea that evil ultimately just consumes itself, that the lies and the cruelty eventually implode, regardless of who or what delivers the final blow? Leaves you wondering, doesn't it?